Stop right there. Before you call your agent, before you set a price, and before you allow a single showing, I need you to watch this video. Because right now, in this Central Maine market, there are 5 specific things that are killing home sales. And most sellers don't find out about them until they're already in the middle of a deal that's starting to fall apart. I'm Jeff Jolicoeur, team leader at Surette Real Estate with eXp Realty here in Waterville, Maine. As a former teacher and a fiduciary advocate, my job isn't just to sell your home, it's to make sure you are completely protected when you do. I've guided over 1,000 families through complex transactions right here in Central Maine. And I've seen every one of these 5 mistakes up close. Some of them cost sellers thousands of dollars. Some of them cost them the deal entirely. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on all 5, including the one that's unique to our region and catches even experienced agents off guard. And I'm going to tell you exactly how to avoid every single one. Let's go. The first deal killer is the one I see constantly, and it is completely preventable. Sellers who skip the pre-listing inspection are letting the buyer discover problems first, and that is the worst possible position to be in. Here's what happens. A buyer falls in love with your home. You're under contract, everyone is excited, the inspector goes in and finds something. A failed septic system, knob and tube wiring, water intrusion in the basement, foundation cracks. And now you're not negotiating from strength. You're on the defensive. The buyer is scared, their agent is asking for a credit, and your deal is hanging by a thread. I had a client right here in Waterville. Lovely home. They were confident it was in great shape. The buyer's inspector found a major septic issue. We're talking a repair over $10,000. That discovery nearly killed the deal entirely. We saved it, but it cost us time, leverage, and money. And we could have avoided all of it. A pre-listing inspection typically runs $300 to $500. You find the issue early, you fix it on your terms, or you price your home to reflect it. Either way, you control the narrative. You're not reacting in a panic. You're not giving up leverage in an already emotionally charged negotiation. In Central Maine specifically, watch for older oil tanks, aging septic systems on rural lots, knob and tube wiring in older Waterville-Fairfield homes, and moisture issues in basements for Maine's freeze-thaw cycles. These are not deal breakers if they're known. They become deal breakers when they're surprises. Know your home before your buyer does. That's the lesson. Deal killer number 2 is the one I have the most honest, sometimes difficult conversations about. Overpricing your home because you're anchored to 2021, 2022. Here's the truth about what happened in those years. We were in an extraordinary seller's market. Homes in Waterville and Winslow were getting 5, 8, sometimes even 10 offers. Some buyers were even waiving inspections. Prices were going $20,000 to $30,000 over asking. It was not normal. It was a once-in-a-generation market event. That market is gone. It is not coming back in the near term. And sellers who are still living mentally in that moment, who still believe their home should sell for 2021 prices, are walking into a trap. And what happens when you overprice? First, you get fewer showings. Buyers in today's market are data-driven. Their agents pull comps, and if you're overpriced by $25,000, if you're priced $25,000 over what the data supports, the serious buyers will skip your home. Then the days on market start climbing. 10 days, 20 days, 40 days. And here's the brutal reality. The longer a home sits, the more buyers assume something is wrong with it. They don't know your price is too high. They just know it's been sitting. And now you start reducing, which signals desperation. I use what I call a money map with every seller I work with. A financial modeling session where we look at the real market data, the real comparable recent sales, and we find the strategic price that puts maximum money in your pocket without the cost of sitting on the market. Because a home that sells in 12 days at the right price almost always nets more than a home that sits for 60 days and gets beaten down through reductions. My job is not to tell you what you want to hear. My job is to show you what the data says and build a strategy that actually works. This is the one I told you, our region. Deal killer number 3, ignoring Maine's specific environmental zoning and shoreland regulations. Central Maine is not like selling a home in suburban Massachusetts or southern New Hampshire. We have the Belgrade Lakes region, Great Pond, Long Pond, Messalonskee Lake, hundreds of waterfront properties across Kennebec and Somerset counties. And every single one of them is subject to a regulatory framework that can absolutely kill a deal if it isn't understood. Maine's Shoreland Zoning Act sets strict rules around setbacks, how far a structure must be from the water's edge. Septic systems on waterfront lots face additional scrutiny. And unpermitted modifications, a deck extended without a permit, a camp converted to a year-round dwelling without the right approvals, these things come out in a title search, and they can stop a closing cold. And don't forget about the potential for the need of flood insurance. I had a cottage for sale. It was determined that 1 foot of the corner of the cottage was in the flood zone. The buyer's lender wouldn't close. The seller had no idea it was an issue. 6 weeks into the transaction, the whole thing unraveled. This is not just a waterfront issue. It affects seasonal properties being converted, older rural homes with well and septic systems, and any property near a water body, stream, or wetland. And with buyers increasingly coming from out of state, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and even from the West Coast, their attorneys are not going to let these items slide. They're going to catch them. If you're selling a waterfront property, or any property with these characteristics, you need an agent who knows these laws inside and out. Not someone who will learn on the job using your transaction as a classroom. That is the expertise that I bring. In our market, it's not optional. Deal killer number 4 is the most frustrating one for me because it is so entirely fixable. Poor presentation, bad photography, lazy advertising remarks, cluttered rooms, dark corners is costing Central Maine sellers real money. Not hypothetical, real measurable money. And here's something I want you to understand in 2026. The first showing of your home does not happen when a buyer walks through the front door. It happens on their phone, on Zillow at 11 o'clock at night when they're scrolling through listings. Your photos are the first impression. And in this market, you have about 3 seconds to make a buyer stop scrolling and click. If your photos are dark, and I see this constantly in older properties, buyers swipe past. They may never schedule a showing. I've had listings in this market that were sitting. Good homes, fair prices, but the photos were not doing the job. A few years ago, I received a call from someone who had their house on the market with another agency for 6 months. It didn't sell. They asked if I might be able to help them. I actually increased the price and sold the home in less than a week. The home hadn't changed. The presentation had. I took new photos, thoughtfully considering angles, and removed unnecessary clutter. I wrote new remarks that were engaging and made potential buyers want to see the home. Every home I represent gets quality photography. Every home gets a pre-listing walkthrough with staging guidance because you worked too hard to build this equity to leave it on the table. And here we are at deal killer number 5. In some ways, this is the most dangerous one because it happens at the moment when you think you've already won. You have an offer, maybe 2 offers. You're excited. You're done, right? Not so fast. Mismanaging the offer phase, evaluating offers incorrectly, structuring contingencies poorly, failing to protect yourself in a dual transaction is how sellers end up with a deal that falls apart after 45 days under contract. And by then, you've lost time, lost market momentum, and potentially lost the home you were planning to buy next. Most sellers are trained to look at one number, the offer price. Highest offer wins, right? Not necessarily. Here's what else matters. The buyer's financing strength. Are they pre-approved with a lender who has actually reviewed their file? Or did they get a 2-minute online pre-qualification? They're not the same thing. The contingencies. How many are there? How tight are the timelines? The closing date. Does it align with your needs, including your purchase timeline if you're doing a dual transaction? And the earnest money? Is the buyer putting real skin in the game, or can they walk away with minimal consequences? I use what I call the dual transaction matrix to evaluate every offer scenario. It's a risk leverage scoring system that looks at every variable, not just the price. And for clients who are selling and buying at the same time, which is a high percentage of my sellers, we layer in protective addenda that give you a legal safety net. If you're under contract on your current home, but haven't secured your replacement property yet, we write in contingency language that gives you the right to cancel without penalty if you cannot find a suitable replacement. The goal isn't to get the highest offer. The goal is to get to the closing table with the maximum net proceeds on your timeline without ending up with a U-Haul in the driveway and nowhere to go. That is major league protection, and that is what I do. So let's bring it home. 5 deal killers. 5 completely avoidable mistakes that are derailing home sales right here in Central Maine. Number 1, skipping the pre-listing inspection and letting the buyer find the problem first. Number 2, pricing your home against a 2021 market that no longer exists. Number 3, ignoring Maine-specific environmental and zoning regulations. Number 4, weak photography and lack of preparation that kills your first impression before a buyer ever walks through the door. And number 5, misreading the offer, choosing price over quality, or failing to protect yourself in a dual transaction. Every single one of these is preventable, but only if you know they're coming, and only if you have the right strategy and the right agent in your corner. Selling a home in Central Maine right now is not the same as it was 3 years ago. The market has leveled. Buyers have data. The sellers who do well are the ones who are strategic, who are prepared, and who have a fiduciary partner, not just a salesperson, guiding them through every decision. If you're thinking about selling, whether that's in 30 days or 9 months from now, I want to have a conversation with you. Not a sales pitch, a real conversation about your situation, your goals, your timeline, and what a smart, protected sale looks like for you and your family. There's a link in the description to book a free, no-pressure consultation. You can also call or text me directly at 207-649-6893 or email me at jjolicoeur@surette-realestate.com. If this video was helpful, please hit subscribe. I put out a new video every week covering the Central Maine market, seller strategies, buyer guidance, and everything you need to make a confident, informed real estate decision. If you know someone thinking about selling, send them this video. It might save their deal. I'm Jeff Jolicoeur. Thank you for watching, and I will see you at the next one.